Hello, welcome Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 25, Critique of Knowledge Society, we are going to start our lecture with topic Digital Divide Among and Between the Global Countries. The digital divide threatens to widen the already existing development gap between the rich and the poor, among and within countries. The majority of the world's people will not be able to benefit from this revolution unless they are unable to participate fully in the emerging knowledge-based information society. Internal divide is between digitally empowered rich and the disempowered poor. Linguistic cultural divide between domination of Anglo-Saxon and the other world culture. Divide in access of technology between the rich and the poor nations, and the divide between the values of ICT driven affluent elites and conventional authority and hierarchies. Disparities in per capita income and standards of living could translate into a marginalization of entire societies or segments of the society. Also, within the countries, technological changes often means that groups which were already disadvantaged or excluded, low-income families, rural population, women minorities, and the elderly fall farther behind. In the United Kingdom, for example, only 4% of households in the poorest income quintile are connected to the internet, compared with 43% in the top quintile, and the gap is increasing every year. In the United States, the proportion of the Afro-American families that are connected is half that for the white families. The 2001 ILO report reveals a digital gender gap in many parts of the world, including OECD countries. Although some economies have near partly in internet use, examples are Taiwan, China with 45% female users and Korea with 43%. The situation is more often far from the balanced. On a global scale, it divides industrial and developing countries according to their ability to use, adapt, produce, and diffuse knowledge. In Korea, the number of households connected to the internet in 2000 doubled, raising the total to 3 million homes, whereas in Japan, only 450,000 homes are connected. The technological gaps between the high-income and low-income countries is reflected in the number of personal computers per thousand inhabitants, less than 1 in Burkina Faso compared with 27 in South Africa, 38 in Chile, 172 in Singapore, and 348 in Switzerland. Sub-Saharan African countries together have 1 internet user per 5,000 population. In Europe and North America, the proportion is 1 user for every 6 inhabitants. Among developing countries, the digital divide sets apart the technological more advanced countries from the less advanced one, whereas a few African countries with small populations still lack even 1 internet host. In Singapore, 98% of households use internet. Within a given region, some countries have a stronger information and communication infrastructure than others. In sub-Saharan Africa, the number of internet hosts per thousand population ranges from 0.01 in Burkina Faso to 3.82 in South Africa. Most reports on disparities in ICT access within the country look at the problem according to the social economic criteria such as race, income, geographical location, education, age, gender, and disability. Notwithstanding this divide, many experts are of the opinion that the countries that do not adopt and adapt to the current technological changes will be marginalized, widening further digital divide within and between the countries. Now let us move to the next point, the question of literacy in knowledge society. In the information societies, knowledge is power, but this knowledge power will become a reality only if one has accessibility to knowledge. The appearance and the rapid evolution of ICT have created at least two major challenges for education. To achieve the appropriate integration of ICT into overall education system and institutions, and to ensure that the new technologies become agents of expanded access and equity and increase educational opportunities for all, not just for the wealthy or the technological privileged. Indeed, early policy research in the United States, one of the first widespread adopters of new ICT, found stronger evidence that uneven access to the technologies was worsening existing equity gap in education. Explicit attention needs to be given to the equity consideration so that the new technologies which shatter the geographical barriers, erecting new ones and worsening the digital divide. There is another potential threat for education in knowledge society. It is now established that the knowledge economy needs an educational arrangement to promote extensive use of ICTs. Educational programs that can be traded across the border as a commodity and lifelong learning for the workforce. Several noted experts on distant education, however, have viewed ICTs as a vehicle for commercialization of education globally. To David F. Noble, against the backdrop of the phenomenal expansion of ICT, educational campuses are now being identified as a significant site of capital accumulation by converting intellectual activity into intellectual capital. To him, these processes have penetrated with the process of commoditization of the research function and of the educational function of the university. Transformation of courses into courseware, learning instructions itself into commercially viable products that can be owned, bought, and sold in the market. Against the backdrop of the exponential emergence of the knowledge economy, he highlights that the corporate and the political leaders of the major industrialized countries, in order to retain their economic supremacy, now turn toward the knowledge-based industry. According to the Noble, an impact of commoditization of university function, teachers as labor are made subject to all the pressures of undergoing rapid technological transformation from above. They have also reduced their autonomy, independence, and control over their work. Now universities are transformed into market for the commodities being produced, whereby faculty who conducted research in the role as educators and scholars have become instead producers of commodities for their employer. Much to suffice the commercial, and there has emerged close partnership between the universities and industries to convert the instructional process into marketable product. such as CD-ROMs, websites, or courseware which they themselves may or may not deliver. Lachamhana finds that in general higher education is experiencing a shift from supply-driven to demand-driven pressures due to the impact of globalization and information and communication technology. Competition from new providers and the need to be self-sustaining, universities and increasingly seeking solutions to these challenges in the open and the flexible and ICT based online or virtual learning, and the ODL system also getting transformed from quality driven and marginal to commercially oriented and mainstream. Here we want to close this lecture. Thanks for listening.